Good evening. We're reconvening after closed session at 6:05. Can we please have roll call?
Trustee Hodges is absent. Trustee Flores?
Present.
Trustee Young?
Present.
Vice President Amboy?
Present.
President Fox?
Present.
Trustee Jacobo?
Present.
Trustee Arbab?
Present.
And Trustee De Leon?
Present.
And we have a quorum.
Thank you. Let's do our Pledge of Allegiance.
The first time I learned it.
Reporting actions out taken in closed session. For item 3A, we heard from council and provided direction. For item 3BI, the board took action to readmit student number F2025-AR01. Can I get a motion and a second? Trustee Flores?
Make a motion to accept the findings.
Vice President Amboy.
I second.
Roll call, please.
Trustee Hodges is absent. Trustee Flores?
Aye.
Trustee Young?
Aye.
And Vice President Amboy?
Aye.
And President Fox?
Aye.
And the motion passes 4 with 1 absent.
For item and for closed session items 3C, the governing board heard an update on the superintendent's goals and provided staff with direction. That is the report taken from closed session. With that now, do I have a motion to adopt the board agenda? Trustee Flores,
Make a motion to adopt the agenda.
Vice President Amboy,
I second.
roll call, please.
Trustee Hodges is absent. Trustee Flores?
Aye.
And Trustee Young?
Aye.
Vice President Amboy?
Aye.
President Fox?
Aye.
Trustee Jacobo?
Aye.
Trustee Arbab?
Aye.
And Trustee De Leon?
Aye.
And the motion passes 4 with 1 absent.
Thank you. All right, with that, we are now down to agenda item 6BII. Or I. If members of the public wish to speak on agenda item 6BI, which is the adoption of Resolution 5080, to review recommendations regarding school closures and consolidations, an initial review of the Equity Impact Analysis, EIA, you must submit a card and comment card by no later than the end of the agenda, item 6B, number 6BI, which is the presentation and the initial Equity Impact Analysis, EIA, report. Anyone who submits a new comment card after the end of that item will not be allowed to speak. Thank you.
We do have item 6A. We want to recognize a donation this evening.
Good evening, Mr. President, Mr. Superintendent, brothers and fellows from Vallejo, from all over the room, students. I'm Gerald Bettman, and I represent Naval Lodge number 87. And we've always had our lodge, all the lodges of California, all the lodges around the country have supported schools and in this way fostered the growth and structure of our great country. Our schools are very important, and we are very glad to support them. I understand that this board will have a proclamation about Public Schools Week. I'm sorry that, well, no, I'm not sorry that our proclamations are backwards and upside down. I'd like to announce that this board, I understand, will make the proclamation this evening, and that the city, under the Mayor Scorse, will make a similar proclamation on September 25th at 4:30 in the afternoon, which they will make. Apparently, the school board and the city council meets in a group
By two.
composed of two. So, two groups, probably both boards. So that a proclamation will be issued by Mayor Scorse, and she has remarks to make in support of that. I personally would like to present, our lodge. We did without some things and coughed up the money, and so we have a small donation to present to Superintendent Aurelio to use in his discretion in whatever little niche or corner this would be useful.
Thank you
Director?
very much.
Thank you very much for your support, and please thank everyone at the lodge. The board will now move on to agenda item 6BI, presentation of the initial equity impact analysis. The district's consultant, Keith Weaver of Government Financial Services, Joint Powers Authority, will lead us in a presentation of the initial findings within the Equity Impact Analysis, EIA, including with the recommendations regarding school closures and consolidations evaluated there within, which has been prepared in accordance with Section 41329A2A of the Education Code. Please note that the board is not taking action on any school closures or consolidations this evening. The item is intended only to present the Equity Impact Analysis EIA report, which has been prepared to evaluate equity-related criteria associated with the potential closure options. The initial EIA Equity Impact Analysis was attached to the meeting's agenda and has been made available for the public for review. Therefore, we will proceed with agenda item 6BI, which will open the floor to public comment in order to consider community feedback to the initial EIA in compliance with Section 41329A2B of the Education Code. If you wish to speak on this agenda item, 6BI, please submit your comment card before the end of the agenda item. Mr. Weaver, you may now begin your presentation.
Hi, good evening. I'd like to start by thanking you for taking on this important work. It's very difficult work, but it's very important for the long-term fiscal health of the school district. So thank you. How's my microphone doing? Coming okay? Thank you. Okay, so for my agenda tonight, I just have a brief introductory overview of the equity impact analysis on our phase 2 closures and consolidations. I'd like to spend a little extra time discussing transportation because I know that's an important concern. And then I have some summary findings to share with you. And then I'd like to wrap up with some suggested next steps. So just by way of background, the EIA, Equity Impact Analysis, is recommended for school closures and consolidations by the California State Attorney General. And it helps to mitigate harm and ensure equal opportunity for all of our students. Now, the board previously developed a set of 9 metrics that were to be considered within the EIA. I've listed all 9 of them here. And I'd like to share with you that the report that is accompanying this presentation does a deep dive on every single one of these metrics. It's over 80 pages long, and it goes through each of these metrics in significant detail. So really tonight, it's just a brief summary overview, and that's the purpose of this presentation. So the schools under review are shown here. There were 7 schools that were considered in the EIA for potential closure or consolidation. And then there's also an 8th option that looked at a combination of 2 schools. And those options are listed here on the left-hand side of this table. And then we also considered, were those schools to be closed or consolidated which schools would receive those students. And those schools are listed on the right-hand side of this table. And in total, there were 16 options that were reviewed within the EIA. This next page is showing a map, and it identifies the schools geographically. The schools in blue are those that were reviewed within the EIA. The schools in green are additional district schools, and the schools in orange are those that were closed as part of the Phase 1 effort. This next table is showing the estimated savings from closure or consolidation. And you can see that for most options, the district is expected to save several $100,000 per year. The range was about $300,000 to about $650,000 in savings annually for all of the schools, with the exception of the Finney Education Complex. With Finney, the expectation is this school would be more of a relocation rather than a closure or consolidation. And so while no savings is estimated, it does present an opportunity to repurpose that site where those students to be relocated. Now, on the topic of transportation, there are transportation services that the district provides on a mandatory basis, for example, for special education students. But there are also transportation services the district provides that are optional. And those optional services are based on those students that live beyond minimum distances according to board policy. For those students, we've shown a map here of the bus stops that serve those students. They are shown on the map in red, and there's 1 for Federal Terrace and 3 for Highland. And the 3 for Highland are all concentrated around Lincoln Elementary because those bus stops serve the upper grades 4 through 6 for those students living in the Lincoln area. Now, this next table is showing an estimate of how many students would be beyond those minimum distances according to board policy were the school to close or consolidate. And so we've included an estimate, and the top here are those options in which there's expected to be no impact or negligible impact on transportation. The options in green are expected to be low impact. In yellow, we're just thinking a medium impact, and then in red, we're estimating a high impact. And just to kind of give you sort of a ballpark sense, those options in green would probably require an extra bus to serve those transportation needs. Those in yellow would be about 1 to 2 buses, and those in red would be at least 2 buses, maybe more. I'd also like to add that in addition to buses, there are options to address transportation, none of them easy, but they do include staggering bell schedules, adjusting board policy, as well as adding buses and bus drivers to expand capacity. So in summary findings, an important conclusion of the equity impact analysis is that none of the impacts rose to the level of discriminatory. And so that means the district is free to move forward with any of the options. However, the impacts may offer some insight into how to prioritize the options. And so we've included a prioritization table. You can see on the left, at the top here, a couple options involving Stephen Manor are expected to have no or negligible impact. Finney Education Complex, as well as Lincoln, while they do have impacts, they're expected to be low, as shown in green. And then Penny Stephen Manor is expected to have a medium impact, as shown in yellow. There's a variety of other options in yellow, and then I'd like to point out those at the bottom, Federal Terrace and Highland to Cooper, both are in red, meaning that we expected there to be high impacts, and those would be, in our estimation, very challenging options to implement. And I'd like to add that in the upper right-hand corner of this table, we are including the ranking of schools that was established by the 7-11 committee. And so what I'd like to point out is that the top 4 options in the 7-11 committee ranking align with the top 4 options in the equity impact analysis ranking. So even though different factors were considered, the outcome was a nice alignment in terms of the results of the schools and how they were prioritized. So tonight, we have an opportunity for community input. There's also an action item on the agenda that simply involves acceptance of this report. And then at the September 24th board study session, we'd invite a detailed discussion. We can consider the public input that was received tonight. We can have a more in-depth conversation about each of the options. And then at the November board meeting, we'd ask for your consideration on approval of a final equity impact analysis report that's been updated with community input as well as board member input. So that concludes my presentation, and thank you again.
Do any of the trustees have any questions or comments for Mr. Weaver? No. Vice President Amboy?
No questions, but I just want to make a motion to approve.
Not yet.
Oh, not yet.
Different item.
Sorry.
That's the next item.
Again, as was stated, we will hold our special study session next week on September 24th, where the governing board will take a deeper dive into the EIA report, the data, and other relevant information. With that, now we are going to move on. So now we are moving on to our item, the board will now move on to agenda 6BI, adoption resolution, Mr. Vice President Amboy, of Resolution 5080 to review the recommendations regarding school closures and consolidations, an initial review of the updated EIA equity impact analysis. Please again note that the board will not take any action on any school closures or consolidations this evening. This item is intended only to review the equity impact analysis, which was prepared to evaluate equity-related criteria associated with the potential closure options. The equity impact analysis was included with the meeting agenda and the attachment that has been made available to the public for review. I understand that Superintendent Aurelio would like to provide a brief overview of the recommendations for potential school closures and consolidations. And Aurelio.
So this evening, I'm presenting my preliminary recommendation for school closures and consolidations that would take effect in the 26-27 school year. I am recommending the closure of Lincoln Elementary with a focus on maintaining strong early literacy supports at receiving schools, the closure of Cooper Elementary with the relocation of the John Finney Education Complex to that site, and the closure of Annie Pennycook Elementary with students consolidated primarily to Stephen Manor and boundary adjustments to Glen Cove and Wardlaw. Closed campuses will be repurposed for district use, public services, leased or sold. This is a preliminary recommendation, and we will continue engaging with our community as we move forward for our final decision later this year. There will be both in-person and virtual opportunities to hear from our impacted communities prior to the adoption of the Equity Impact Analysis Report in November and the district final decision in December. Thank you.
Thank you, Superintendent Aurelio. The board will now receive comments from members of the public who desire to address this item. Please note that each speaker will be limited to 3 minutes regular. Minutes that the board will limit to the total time of the public comment, up to a total of 20 minutes. Again, please note that if you did not submit a comment card by the end of the previous agenda item, your name will not be called to speak.
We've received no cards on this item.
Okay.
But I know we have questions potentially from the board and student trustees.
That now, or
Since there's no public comment, yeah, we can go to questions.
move to, okay. Board comments or questions? Student trustee De Leon?
Where did you say you wanted to move Finney again?
Oh, sure. So this is, remember, a preliminary.
Oh,
This is
okay.
to get the ball
Sorry.
rolling, because next week, when we
Okay.
come together again as a study session, you'll have a starting point to start to have those discussions. So Cooper Elementary would close in this scenario, and John Finney Education Complex would move to Cooper.
Okay.
Yeah. Thank you for clarifying.
Any other comments? Good? All right. At this time, do I have a motion to approve, adopt Resolution 5080, confirming the initial review of the equity impact analysis. Vice President Amboy.
I make a motion to approve adoption resolution 5080.
Thank you. Dr. Young,
Second.
roll call, please.
Trustee Hodges is absent. Trustee Flores?
Aye.
Trustee Young?
Aye.
Vice President Amboy?
Aye.
President Fox?
Aye.
Trustee Jacobo?
Aye.
Trustee Arbab?
Aye.
And Trustee De Leon?
Aye.
And the motion passes 4 yes and 1 absent.
Thank you. All right, now we are down to,
Hispanic Heritage Month resolution. Item 6C. We have both the Spanish language resolution and the English language resolution. I think we've asked student trustee Jacobo if she could read the Spanish, and I think trustee Flores is willing to read the English.
Ok. Reconociendo el 15 de septiembre al 15 de octubre de 2025 como Mes Nacional de la Herencia Hispana, considerando que cada año observamos el Mes Nacional de la Herencia Hispana al celebrar la cultura, la herencia y las innumerables contribuciones de aquellos cuyos antepasados eran indígenas de América del Norte, así como de quienes vinieron de España, México, el Caribe, Centroamérica y Sudamérica. Y considerando que lo que comenzó en 1968 como la Semana de la Herencia Hispana bajo el presidente Lyndon B. Johnson fue ampliado por el presidente Ronald Reagan en 1988 para cubrir un periodo de 30 días que comienza el 15 de septiembre y termina el 15 de octubre. Y considerando que cada año los estadounidenses observan el Mes Nacional de la Herencia Hispana, un periodo para celebrar los logros, historias, tradiciones y la diversidad cultural de los estadounidenses hispanos, latinos, Latinx, cuya herencia tiene sus raíces en 20 países y territorios de América Latina: España, México, Guatemala, Honduras, El Salvador, Nicaragua, Costa Rica, Panamá, Colombia, Venezuela, Ecuador, Perú, Bolivia, Paraguay, Chile, Argentina, Uruguay, Cuba, Puerto Rico y la República Dominicana. Y considerando que los estadounidenses hispanos, latinos, Latinx han tenido una profunda y positiva influencia en nuestro país a través de su fuerte compromiso con el tema de este año: herencia colectiva, honrando el pasado, inspirando el futuro, que encarna el espíritu de innovación, resiliencia y la unidad que define la experiencia hispana. Por lo tanto, se resuelve que la Junta Directiva del Distrito Escolar Unificado de la Ciudad de Vallejo fomenta la celebración del Mes Nacional de la Herencia Hispana y que todos los planteles escolares reconozcan las contribuciones de los estadounidenses hispanos, latinos, Latinx. Thank you.
you. Trustee Flores? You got to follow that. Yes, you have to follow that.
I'm not even gonna try. So, Vallejo City Unified School District, Resolution Number 5077, recognizing September 15th through October 15th, 2025 as National Hispanic Heritage Month. Whereas each year we observe National Hispanic Heritage Month by celebrating the culture, heritage, and countless contributions of those whose ancestors were indigenous to North America, as well as those who came from Spain, Mexico, the Caribbean, Central America, and South America, and whereas what began in 1968 as Hispanic Heritage Week under President Lyndon B. Johnson was expanded by President Ronald Reagan in 1988 to cover a 30-day period starting on September 15th and ending on October 15th, and whereas each year Americans observe National Hispanic Heritage Month, a time to celebrate the achievements, histories, traditions, and cultural diversities of Hispanics, Latinos, Latinx Americans whose heritage is rooted in 20 Latin American countries and territories: Spain, Mexico, Guatemala, Honduras, El Salvador, Nicaragua, Costa Rica, Panama, Colombia, Venezuela, Ecuador, Peru, Bolivia, Paraguay, Chile, Argentina, Uruguay, Cuba, Puerto Rico, and the Dominican Republic. And whereas Hispanic, Latino, Latinx Americans have had a profound and positive influence on our country through their strong commitment to this year's theme, Collective Heritage, honoring the past, inspiring the future, embraces the spirit of innovation, resilience, and unity that defines the Hispanic experience. Therefore, it be resolved that the Vallejo City Unified School District Governing Board encourages the celebration of National Hispanic Heritage Month, and that all school sites recognize the contribution of Hispanic, Latino, Latinx Americans. Adopted on the 17th day of September 2025.
Do I hear a motion? Trustee Flores?
Make a motion to adopt resolution number 5077.
Dr. Young,
I second.
please.
Trustee Hodges is absent. Trustee Flores?
Aye.
Trustee Young?
Aye.
Vice President Amboy?
Aye.
President Fox?
Aye.
Trustee Jacobo?
Aye.
Trustee Abab?
Aye.
And Trustee De Leon?
Aye.
And the motion passes 4 with 1 absent.
Thank you. All right, we're down now to forum. And our agency reports.
I don't believe I see interagencies this evening.
VEA, no report? Okay. CSEA, no report? VSMA. Report of district advisory committees.
Only thing I want to announce, our next Superintendent Student Advisory Committee, our first meeting of this school year, is slotted for the 29th of September. And we're really looking forward to our returning members, but also welcoming new members.
Community members.
We do have 2 cards. So the first card, Dr. Ramona Bishop, followed by Hazel Wilson.
Good evening, everyone. Superintendent Aurelio. Did I do okay? What's your name? All right. John Fox, President, and to the trustees, community, and friends. I'm Dr. Ramona Bishop. I am the President and CEO of Elite Public Schools. We were founded in 2019 to eliminate opportunity gaps for historically underserved students. At about 4:41, you received an email from me, which I will read to you verbatim. Hello to all. We are proud to announce that the students at Elite are making strong academic improvements. In Superintendent Aurelio's denial of our first request, the justification was that we were marked as a low-performing charter school. As you are aware, California Assessment of Student Performance and Progress Results, or CASP, have been distributed to districts and are in final review at this time. We have done our own internal comparison and are aware of our progress compared to the progress of other LEAs in Solano County. Our students and staff members have done the work to improve our academic scores, and the improvements are just at the beginning stages. Our school community deserves to have a new and/or modernized facility and would greatly appreciate the opportunity to apply for the state funding allocated under Proposition 2. We look forward to working collaboratively with the superintendent and Board of Trustees of the Vallejo City Unified School District to provide all information necessary so that the necessary resolution can be agendized and approved prior to the application deadline of October 30th, 2025. Also, we have 3 additional documents coming tomorrow. Please acknowledge once all documents have been received. Kind regards, Dr. Ramona Bishop. Thank you for your time this evening.
Thank you. Hazel Wilson.
Superintendent Aurelio, President John Fox, and members of the board. I would like to commend today's event at Jesse Bethel High School, the UCAN HBCU College Fair. It was an excellent event. Many of our students received on the spot, acceptances to various colleges. I worked along with the local chapters of Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated, Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated, and the NAACP. We conducted voter registration and pre-registration for the students in this critical time when the vote is so important. We registered and pre-registered over 80 students, and we're very proud of that fact. And the NAACP also conducted a membership drive, a student membership drive. We will also be doing this at the back-to-school nights. The CC Sabathia celebration that was scheduled for September 27th has been canceled and will be moved. It will be moved to mid-November due to CC's very busy schedule. And of course, we appreciate CC for the new thousands of backpacks, school supplies, and the largest contributor to our teacher store. Thank you.
Okay, we're done with community members' reports, so now we're down to student reports. Valdez Jacobo, would you like to go first?
Yes.
All right.
Okay, good evening. Good evening, everyone. My name is Sonia Valdez, representing the Vallejo High School, just saying. First, just wanted to talk about our first football home game against the Ely Eagles. Score came down to 36-12, something like that. We won. It was also, excuse me? 35-6. Thank you. It was also my first game cheering, so yay. It was so great seeing everybody there. Yeah, such a great win. And next, regarding the HBCU fair that I attended today, lots of opportunities, lots of colleges I was able to speak with, lots of universities, and a lot of scholarships. A scholarship I did want to mention is the CAASC scholarship, which it was presented to me from the office of District 11, Lori D. Wilson. So definitely for people to check out. And another thing, a field trip I attended was the Latina Luncheon. It was a beautiful experience where we got to meet leaders that looked like us, spoke like us, had similar background to us. It was really empowering and really breathtaking seeing all these Latina leaders speak and tell us their stories and encourage us that we could be the next ones up in those positions, no matter our backgrounds, no matter where we come from, no matter what we believe in. And yeah, thank you guys.
Thank you for your report. Arbab from Jesse Bethel.
All right. So I represent Jesse M. Bethel High School, the Vallejo High School. We're going to do a lot about that soon. Go Jags, go Jags. Anyways, lots of stuff to report on. I guess I'll also start with the HBCU fair, which happened at Jesse Bethel today. You know, it was great. We had a lot of colleges there, and even for me, I've still got a long way to go till I go officially go to college. Even though I could graduate this year, I do meet the recs. But it was great to get to figure out the experience of how it might feel, because for us, we brought our resumes, our transcripts, and we asked around like, hey, what kind of scholarships could we get? I was offered 2 full rides to, one of them was to Howard and one of them was to this Christian school. And you know, I like Howard because a lot of my friends went there this year, so pretty cool school. They got a lot of programs there, which I really am interested in. So it was great, and you know, the stuff with colleges like this is a lot of students feel like they don't have the GPA to meet or the requirements to meet these colleges. They do. They just don't realize it. And a fair like this really helps everyone understand that they can go to college, because you don't have to go to college to succeed in life. You can go to a trade school, or you can start a business, go your own path. But for a lot of students, it helps them figure out what their path will be. And it's really important that that is an available opportunity for everyone to have the ability to go to college. So I applaud the HBCU fair. It was a great event. A couple other things that happened at Bethel this past week. We had the Club Rush, which is clubs, which is unique to Jesse Bethel High. I had my own club, the Military History Club Promote, and you know, it's great. The great thing about the Club Rush is it really unites the school and gets people interested, because you know, you could have a really niche interest, but because there's nearly 1,300 students at Bethel, you're bound to find at least 10 people that have that interest. You can create a club with it. You can really grow a community, right? And if, let's say, you're interested in, for example, anime, right? And you want to find some friends that are interested in it, you can join a club like the Anime Club, right? And it's really good to not only form connections, but also have fun, make new friends, and just get to know more people at your school, because it's a lot of students. And, you know, for our club, I think we had 70 people sign up, which was a great turnout. We had lots of people in the quad. I think we had 29 different clubs representing on Friday. So really good. We also had the bathroom walks, I think, the week before. We walked with Bethel's head custodian and Mr. Tisby, I believe. And because when I was notified that I would be student trustee, the big thing that all the students mentioned to me that they wanted to be met, like an area of concern, was the bathrooms, because it's a really important space, and we need to make sure those are clean and safe and sanitary for the students. And they were really helpful, Mr. Tisby and our head custodian, in meeting our needs. And one of the big wins we got was that they already added the partitions that we asked for, so we'll clap it up for that. Another idea that I suggested to them, and they were open to it, was the idea of having students submit designs, because the way I look at Bethel and Vallejo is, if you want students to care for something, it needs to be something they're proud of. So if we make Jesse Bethel something that the students are proud of, if we make Vallejo something the students are proud of, they're gonna want to take care of it. So we won't have to, you know, go in every day and do a mass cleaning of the bathrooms. The students will be like, this is pretty cool. I want to take care of this. So one of the ways we're going to try and do that is I've got the our beautification manager at Bethel. I'm going to work with her, Issa Amboy, and figure out Mr. Amboy's daughter, and get a design going for the what would you say, the wallpapers of the bathrooms, because they're pretty bland right now. Just yes, murals. We're gonna add murals and designs that students submit, so it'll be for the students and by the students, right? I've got a couple of complaints too for the district, you know. Okay, so, you know, that's my role. I got to represent my students, my school. Now, we had the town hall meeting, and it was great to talk to the parents and let them know the student side of what's happening. But there's an issue. When they drove into Bethel, our electronic board is not working. It's been displaying the exact same thing for, I think, a good week now, and that's the way our students or parents figure out about events, games, Club Rush, all that stuff. So if you guys could, please get on that very soon, because we need to get that fixed, because that's our way at Jesse Bethel of promoting our stuff. So please get that noted. Thank you so much. And then another concern that I heard from our activities director and some of our students was the water fountains. At Jesse Bethel, the water refilling station for water bottles, there's just one, and it's in a area that's often closed off in I think the gym area, near the gym area. So if we could have at least 3 or 4 around campus, because it's a big campus and students can't every day, if they need a refill, go from one side of the school to the other, because they also would miss class or be late to class because it's only 7 minutes. So if we could get a couple more of those water refilling stations, that'd be great. Other than that, nothing else to report. Thank you, guys.
Thank you. Trustee DeLeon from John Finney.
Good evening. I find it very hard to find something to talk about for student reports because I don't ever know what to say. So I think my main thing for today's student report, yeah, I said that right. I just want to make sure that, I know this is live streamed, and I know for one, my principal watches. I want to make sure that we're giving substitutes, that our admin and our staff are making sure that they feel supported when it comes to students not necessarily being respectful to the subs because they're subs, and their parents not being respectful to subs. I want to make sure that subs feel the same amount of respect that our everyday teachers do and anybody else who comes to take a class or help a class. I think it plays a very big part in us getting subs and having people, stay in a district or be in a district. And I feel that there is no reason, it might be a student problem, but there is no reason why our subs should feel that they're alone in a school and that they don't have the support from the staff and the admin. My school is doing a senior breakfast on Friday. We felt that it would be important, and a lot of kids in our leadership classes felt that they wanted a senior sunrise type of idea. So it starts at 7:30 on Friday. So we don't actually watch the sunrise because we don't wake up early enough for that. But it starts at 7:30. We have 2 of our teachers, Miss Goot and Miss Palmer, who are making different breakfast items. We have actually a student who's, I'm going to say it wrong, making strawberry agua fresca. How do you say? I'm not saying it.
Agua fresca.
That. He's making that for our students. So, it's something to bring all the kids together, something we all wanted. And, I feel like it is one thing that bigger high schools have that we don't. And I'm just glad that we have the opportunity to even do something like that. So it's all student led. And then the last thing, do I want to say that? I think I want to say thank you to the district and the staff at Finney and Everest. My next week, on the 25th, will make it 3 years since my brother passed. And he was going to Everest when he passed and graduated early in December from Everest. And I think going there, that was my biggest challenge, was being there, being on the campus, being around, where we had the balloon release and everything. And I feel like the support that I got from the school and the staff and everybody was beyond amazing. And I think that everything I do now, I don't think I would be where I am if I didn't have the support from Finney while I was going through that tough period, and even the tough period in the month of September every year. So I just want to say thank you. That's it.
Thank you.
Can we have a little group hug? Huh? Group hug?
What?
Like a little.
We're now on consent items. We have consent 8A through G. Vice President Amboy.
I make a motion to approve items 8A through G.
Do I hear a second? Trustee Flores? Second. Roll call, please.
Trustee Hodges is absent. Trustee Flores?
Aye.
Trustee Young?
Aye.
Vice President Amboy?
Aye.
President Fox?
Aye.
Trustee Jacobo is absent. Trustee Bob
Aye.
and Trustee De Leon.
Aye.
The motion passes 4 yes and 1 absent.
Thank you. We're down to agenda item 9, information. 9A, first read of board policy 6141-2.2. Recognition of religious beliefs and customs.
Good evening, Superintendent, President Fox, trustees. I have 2 items before you. One of them is, they're both first reading of amendments to the board policy and administrative regulations in response to the recent Supreme Court ruling Mahmoud v. Taylor. And CSBA and CDE have provided some recommended adjustments to the language of our board policies to add the language around providing parents the opportunity to opt out of material that they determine might adversely impact their ability to instruct their children in religious beliefs. So this is the first reading for both the board policy and administrative regulations. Any questions?
Questions for 9A or 9B?
Nope. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you for the information. Now we're down to 9C, correct?
Correct.
Status of certificated personnel.
Good evening, trustees, President Fox. I'm very happy this evening to be with you to recommend that we are presenting employees that, under Education Code 44929.21, that have reached tenure status within the district. Every employee of a school who, after being employed with the district for 2 years, consecutive years in a position requiring certification, will be classified as permanent as an employee within the district. And I have the list for you this evening for your review. And we're just thrilled to welcome them to the tenured status.
Thank you. Any questions? All right, thank you for the information.
Don't
Oh,
go. You're next.
Dr. Young? Yeah, you're next.
The list of tenured teachers, how many of these teachers on this tenured list were recruited?
I don't have that information in front of me, but I can get that answer for you.
I'd like to see.
Absolutely.
The results of our recruitment, if it's so sustainable.
Absolutely. Thank you for that question.
Thank you. Now we're on agenda item 10, action items. 10A is diversity and recruiting, hiring and retention.
Thank you, President Fox. I am thrilled to bring this proposal before you this evening for the creation of a diversity in recruiting, hiring, and retention committee for Vallejo City Unified School District. We feel that this committee will meet the four of the pillars: equitable opportunities and equitable outcomes; Pillar 2, safe and supportive learning environments; Pillar 3, vibrant culture and teaching and learning; and Pillar 4, community-centered education. So what will this committee do? Well, it'll be an advisory committee to the school board. It will assist the HR department in identifying and strengthening practices that promote inclusive, equitable, and effective recruiting, hiring, and retention of staff. We're looking to hear diverse voices from across the district and the community to collaboratively review current hiring practices, explore emerging trends, and generate innovative strategies to attract and retain high-quality employees. Together, we will aim to help the district reach a broader range of potential candidates and ensure that our schools are staffed by professionals who reflect and understand the Vallejo City community that they will be serving. It will also be a venue for feedback, offering new perspectives and fostering open dialogue for the diversity, recruiting, and hiring and retention of the new employees that we look to be bringing into our system. So what's the charge of the committee? The Diversity in Recruiting, Hiring, and Retention Committee is charged with reviewing current practices, making recommendations to improve the equity and effectiveness of the district's recruitment, hiring, and retention practices. The committee will assist the HR department by examining data, gathering community input, and developing actionable recommendations for presentation to you as the school board. So what does this work look like? Well, diversity and equity reviewing of the hiring practices. So analyzing whether the current hiring practices are equitable, developing a shared working definition of equitable that gives the committee a guide for their overall work throughout the year. Number two, examination of current practices, previewing current recruitment, interviewing, and hiring processes, paying particular attention to definitions and application of minimum qualifications. For example, in today's day of artificial intelligence, do we need letters of recommendation? Something that we can consider. Additional criteria and attributes that interviewers would consider beyond stated qualifications, like adding equity questions to our list of questions we're asking our candidates. Whether these criteria are known, consistently applied, and communicated district-wide so that folks understand what our process is. Number three, community input. Conduct surveys of current teachers, administrators, classified staff, students, and parents to identify the perceived attributes of what they want from high-quality educators. And identify common themes and compare with criteria currently used in those hiring decisions. Number four, best practice research. Investigate successful recruitment and hiring practices from comparable and surrounding school districts. Establish clear criteria to guide district selection of and for comparative research. Five, evaluation of key processes. So examining recruiting strategies, including outreach methods and community engagement. What is and what is not effective? I mean, we go to job fairs, but what we are putting out on the table, is it effective? Is it drawing folks in? We are going to review those strategies again for looking at the procedures. Equity questions is another example here. Who's involved in the interviews, how interview panels are formed, the consistency and equity of the process, exploring follow-up support for newly hired staff, especially for those unrepresented backgrounds. And I know this is important to our student trustees as well as Dr. Young, as mentioned in previous conversations we've had. Number six, recommendations of development, proposing concrete actionable strategies the district can adopt for recruiting, hiring, and retention, and reporting progress each semester back to the school board so you know how we're doing. So what does this committee look like? Well, it's 11 members plus myself. It would be one of the directors, a representative from VEA, a representative from CSEA, a student board member appointee, one representative from After School Services, a district administrator or principal from VSMA, 5 community members, and this is where your input is essential, where you would get to nominate a member who would come and join our panel. And then if, of course, if there was an issue where someone could not serve, we would come back for a replacement. We would also like the public to come and join, although they won't be a voting member of the committee. They will have the opportunity to speak to the committee and help us with feedback. And then lastly, the staff liaison would be myself, where I will serve as the liaison between you as the board and Superintendent Aurelio. And I will coordinate meetings, facilitate communication, and assist in gathering and organizing data and reports. So examples of previous work, I've done this work in a previous district, and we've done things like made recommendations for staff recognition, expansion of staff recognition, and the creation of a new staff recognition event. We've reduced letters of recommendation from the hiring process. We've created a trifold advertisement that highlights the diversity of the district for advertisement in terms of making sure that our equity statement is up front, so folks know what we are all about. Recommendation of creating an equity statement that is in line with our strategic plans. Having a drop-in pizza night for new employees where they get to interact with you, the board members. Advertisement support in terms of heading out to churches and coffee houses, restaurants, and gathering locations. just are some of the things that we've done in the past. In terms of financial input or impact upon the district, we put $1,000. I don't anticipate we're going to be doing that. You know, we are, every committee loves refreshments, so we're going to have some refreshments. We may have some guest speakers, guest presenters, and so a thank you gift for them might be part of that as well. But I believe it's the right time, it's the right work, and I'm excited for the opportunity and would like your support with this proposal. Thank you.
Trustee De Leon?
So I can't do it.
It says sophomores and juniors, but if you want to,
Oh, okay.
we'd love to have you.
Okay.
Yes.
I'll just go down the line. Trustee Arbo?
I want to do it.
Oh, okay. Trustee Valdez Jacobo?
Good evening.
Good evening.
Because, would it be possible, since we all clearly want to do it, would it be possible if we could rotate on it? Maybe like once, like every time
Every
you guys
meeting?
meet? Like,
Anything is possible.
Or make it 13 seats and put us all in there.
Oh, wow.
We could do that too.
yeah,
I like that one.
I mean, it's,
yeah.
It's up
I
to
do
the
want to
board.
remind our student trustees that you're going to spread yourselves really thin. Because remember, you also participate on the 2+2
Oh.
and on the superintendent student advisory committee. And some of you do things like cheerlead and do
Yes,
other
Sophie.
things as
Oh,
well.
I also wrestle and play
Uh-huh.
softball.
And you have Willie B. Atkins.
I really like pizza.
but thank you, as community members, you are always welcome,
Okay. Even if we're not part
even
of
if you're not officially part of the committee,
Okay.
correct?
Okay.
I still want to do it.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Dr. Young?
My question is, has this been put in place in another district?
Yes, I did this work in my former district, and it was very successful.
Okay, what is successful to you? What does that mean?
Well, I believe the feedback of what our process, what we're doing, is it reaching enough people? You know, we came to you last board meeting about the sub-rates. Are we advertising that as clearly and as far and wide in the community as possible? And we're working on that. It's a work in progress. But I want to know about the places that we're not reaching. And the churches are a good example of that. I mean, we can find space in a church bulletin. We can find space on a coffee house bulletin board to put our hiring information up. And so that's the real power of that. It's the reaching of more folks in the community to be a part of that hiring process with us.
Thank you for that clarification. The concern that I had, I just attended a conference on September 6th, California Afro, and you were there.
Yes.
The concern is getting the right fit for the right fit for the students that we serve.
Yes.
So that's very important in order to see engagement and productivity in the classroom. How are we going to address that in that screening?
Yeah, and that's a really good question. And I think along those lines, I believe I'm the right person for the work because of my work in the past with Dr. Lori Watson, Dr. Shiraki Holly, and Dora Dome around culturally responsive teaching, CRT, and RIR protocols. But they don't need to see, when we're going out to our recruiting events, they need to see someone other than me that's representative of the district. And so that's one of our goals, is to make sure that when we go to these recruiting events, that we're bringing a diverse representation of the community so that folks know if they have questions that they can go to someone and who can answer those questions. And so that's why with the trifold that I mentioned, the trifold advertising, that's one of the reasons why when I went down to the National HBCU Association did a recruiting recommendation seminar, and the presenter recommended that we do a trifold with putting the equity statement right up front, and that the pictures need to be representative of the district, and we have to be able to reach those communities in a new way that we haven't before, and so that's important to me.
Thank you for sharing that. all, because the community needs to know that.
Absolutely.
Really needs to know that. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Is there a, do I hear a motion to adopt action item 10A? Trustee Flores?
Make a motion to adopt action item 10A.
Vice President Amboy?
I second.
Roll call, please.
Trustee Hodges is absent. Trustee Flores?
Aye.
Trustee Young?
Aye.
Vice President Amboy?
Aye.
President Fox?
Aye.
Trustee Jacobo?
Aye.
Trustee Arbab?
Aye.
And Trustee De Leon?
Aye.
The motion passes 4 yes and 1 absent.
Thank you. Now we're on to 10B,
That'll be Mr. Fernandez for the next
updated
3
educational
items. Yes.
protection account. A.
Good evening, President Fox, Vice President Amboy, Dr. Young, Trustee Flores. Tonight, I'm going to be presenting 3 items. The first item, the educational protection account, is intentionally placed before the unaudited actuals, as it does need to be updated before we do approve that item. As you may or may not recall, the EPA was created under Prop 30 and later extended through Prop 55. These funds are constitutionally restricted and must be spent on instructional purposes, with a formal spending plan adopted annually by the board at a public meeting. For this year, our district expects to receive approximately $30 million in EPA revenues. These funds are budgeted toward teacher salaries and instructional and operational support, consistent with legal requirements. This action ensures our compliance with state law and would be reflected in the unaudited actuals report. There is no additional fiscal impact, as these funds are already built into the adopted budget, and largely this is a compliance item. And at this time, I recommend that the board approve the EPA spending plan for 24-25, and happy to answer any questions.
Arbab?
I make a motion.
No, you can't. No, you cannot, because we don't vote.
Do I hear a second? Dr. Young? Roll call, please.
She wanted to say.
Trustee Hodges is absent. Trustee Flores?
Aye.
Trustee Young?
Aye.
Vice President Amboy?
Aye.
President Fox?
Aye.
Trustee Jacobo?
Aye.
Trustee Arbab?
Aye.
And Trustee De Leon?
Aye.
The motion passes 4 yes and 1 absent.
Thank you. We're on to 10C now. Unaudited actuals.
It's my pleasure tonight to present the 24-25 unaudited actuals for the school, for Vallejo City Unified School District. This will provide a complete picture of the district's activity for the year ending June 30th, 2025. So think of it as your operating results. It's the one time during the school year that you're very sure of what happened, because this is what your books are telling you. Our next steps will be for our auditors to take a look at those numbers, provide recommendations, and take a look at some of our internal controls. So tonight, going to go over the background on purpose, talk about some of the major revenue and expenditure components, our contributions to restricted programs, a summary of our general fund activity, some summaries around our other funds that aren't related to general fund, such as our cafeteria fund, some of our capital funds, our property funds, some fund summaries of all those accounts, and some takeaways and how the numbers and where we landed this year affect our fiscal stabilization plan. So here's our timeline. You'll see this graphic come up every time I bring a mandated state reporting a fiscal report for you. So we're here in September, and the next report will be December 2026, and the next budget presentation will be December 17th, 2025. So again, it's a legally required end-of-year report. It's required by Education Code and must be submitted to the county and state by September 15th, which we have done. And it provides a detailed summary, again, of our revenues and our expenditures and fund balances. It's a snapshot of our final fiscal position. It reflects our actual activity. So it's essentially, we call it in the business department closing the books. And it's from an accounting perspective. We're closing our books for this year and starting in next year. It's a foundation for our audits and our future planning. It will give us our reserve, give us some help with planning our reserve, looking at our cash flow projections and where we end up with what's called our ending fund balance. And finally, this report demonstrates fiscal accountability to the board, the community, and the oversight agencies by documenting how we manage the public funds. So some major highlights for this year. Our actual ADA was 8320, 85, so that's how much of our average daily attendance, while our funded ADA was 8,601, based off of the district's 3-year average. We're allowed to carry a 3-year average when we're in declining enrollment. Our property tax revenues, which is a portion of how our district is funded, we are funded by property taxes. Think of a cup. Our property taxes will fund us up to here, and the state will fill the rest of that based off of our allocation. About 2.7 more million than last year. And the district's food service program, I'm proud to report, was again self-sufficient this year, showing strong fiscal and business practices and requiring no support from the general fund. As you can see here with the general fund revenue summary, the LCFF continues to be a primary source of our funding, making up the vast majority of our unrestricted revenues. Federal initial funding comes from federal, state, and local sources, but it's in much smaller proportions. Our heavy reliance on LCFF means that we are incredibly impacted by our critical drivers such as attendance, and it affects our financial stability. So our expenditures, the story is consistent year to year. Our salaries and benefits make up the largest portion of our budget, about 80% of our unrestricted revenues. So 80% of our dollars are spent on the staff that support our schools, our teachers, our custodians, our tech folks, and our instructional aides, for example. The remainder of those dollars support books, supplies, services, operations, paying our electric bill, paying our water bill, and stuff we spend on larger capital projects, things that are over $500. This breakdown underscores why staffing decisions have the greatest fiscal impact on our budget year to year. Every year, unrestricted dollars that can be spent on pretty much anything, are required to support restricted programs when the revenues for those programs are not sufficient. So this year, the district contributed approximately $35 million to primarily to our special education programs and our routine restricted maintenance account, which is a required contribution from the general fund so that we can maintain our buildings, paint our schools, fix our walls, fix the floors, type of thing. So we continue to monitor the contributions to our restricted programs because they are a threat to our general fund every year. And so it's a big focus this year, particularly around special education, was to make sure that the pressure on the general fund continues to flatten out. So activity summary, our general fund closed the year with an operating deficit of $25.6 million, which was slightly better than we projected in June. So we were able to hold the line with not making sure that deficit spending did not increase from our estimated actuals to our unaudited actuals. The final ending fund balance was $52.2 million, which includes $30 million in restricted funds, 14.6 in assignments, and $7 million reserved for economic uncertainties. The overall outcome for our general fund represents stability compared to our June estimates. We were about just under $1 million over what we expected to land at. So some I think I might have skipped one. Nope, didn't. Taking some key takeaways. As I mentioned, our ending fund balance slightly increased, presenting a stabilized outlook from the last term to this term of reporting for our cash position for 25-26. So no major surprises between the last report we gave you and now. This cash position supports liquidity and potentially reduces the need for some interfund borrowing that we may have done in the past. And most importantly, the biggest takeaway is that these results aligned with our fiscal stabilization plans that we have in place. We've been discussing them. We've brought a 45-day revise, which showed some stabilization measures, as well as the future stabilization measures, which we'll bring back to you in December. And overall, the need to make some very difficult decisions toward long-term sustainability. Next steps, our first interim report will be on December 17th, 2025. It'll be our first snapshot for this year's budget. School districts get a couple of chances throughout the year to update their budget. So as we start to look at the actuals, we look month by month, and we're reconciling the budgets that we put in place for salaries, for materials, for supplies. Every month, we take a look at that and make sure that our initial budget projections were on target, and December will be our first opportunity to correct that. And with that, I wanted to thank the board, the Business Services Department. Dr. Paul Mansing did a great job putting a lot of these numbers together with his team, and looking forward to answering any questions.
Trustee Flores?
Thank you for the report. I'm not trying to put you on the spot.
Yeah.
But I hear this. I hear things are going in the right direction. But for the general public, when they say, so why are you still closing schools?
Mm-hmm.
How is this plan,
Sure.
in a more layman's term, how is this plan preventing that in the future? How do we let the community know that
Mhm.
we're going in the right direction?
Right.
But
So-
there's still
Mhm.
tough decisions we have to make.
Big picture, it's all about cash, right? Cash is king. So when you run out of cash, you go into receivership. And so our budget is still projecting a major structural deficit. So if we continue deficit spending, you saw the numbers around the deficit spending earlier. If we continue that deficit spending, we will run out of cash, right? So what this report is telling us is that we landed where we thought we were going to land, and that we still need to make those cuts. So what the unaudited actuals report does is it gives us a snapshot in time. At the end of the year, here's what our savings account looks like. So based off of this report and the numbers that are present in our financial system, we are landing where we thought we were, not any better, not much better, not much worse. So the projections for how much cuts we need to make over the next few years still stand. That's kind of the bottom line.
So then I guess what I'm hearing is that the plans that we're putting in place are being effective.
The plans that were put in place affect the out years, right? The plans that were, so we're looking backwards right now. We're looking at 24, 25, right? The plans that were put in place, this year's stabilization plan is for this year, and the following year's stabilization plan for 26, 27 will be an additional plan that will need to make. So we have to know where we're at in order to make intelligent decisions on the cuts we need to make, programs we need to keep, or we need to sunset. So,
Thank you.
Yep.
Thank you for your report. Do I have a motion to approve 10C? Trustee Flores?
Make a motion to approve action item 10C.
For a second. Vice President Amboy?
I second.
Roll call, please.
Trustee Hodges is absent. Trustee Flores?
Aye.
Trustee Young?
Aye.
Vice President Amboy?
Aye.
President Fox?
Aye.
Trustee Jacobo?
Aye.
Trustee Arbab?
Aye.
And Trustee De Leon?
Aye.
Motion passes 4 yes and 1 absent.
Thank you. And we are now on action item 10D, Resolution 5078, is it GAN limit calculations?
correct, yes. Resolution 5078 presents the district's GAN limit calculation for the 24-25 fiscal year. For background, the GAN limit was established under Prop 4 in 1979, intended to place constitutional limits on government spending. It ties growth in appropriations to inflations and changes in ADA. Although the GAN limit once had a significant role in limiting expenditures, now functions as a routine compliance item, since most school districts operate well below the state-imposed threshold. There's no fiscal impact on this item, and the resolution allows us to meet a state requirement for submitting our unaudited actuals. And I respectfully recommend adoption of Resolution 5078 regarding the GAN limit calculations.
President Amboy,
I make a motion to approve Resolution 5078.
Dr. Young,
A second.
roll call, please.
Trustee Hodges is absent. Trustee Flores?
Aye.
Trustee Young?
Aye.
Vice President Amboy?
Aye.
President Fox?
Aye.
Trustee Jacobo?
Aye.
Trustee Arbob?
Aye.
And Trustee De Leon?
Aye.
The motion passes 4 yes and 1 absent.
Thank you. We are now down to reports. Superintendent Aurelio.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Fernandez. Superintendent's report. So this evening, I want to begin by acknowledging the teams and schools that successfully completed their Williams Settlement Agreement visits. These annual visits are conducted at selected schools to ensure students have sufficient instructional materials and that our buildings and facilities are in good condition. I appreciate the hard work of our site leaders, our staff, and district departments who continue to meet this important standard of equity and access for our students. Tonight, we also received the first draft of the equity impact analysis alongside my preliminary recommendations for school closures and consolidations. From the outset of this work, we made a promise to our staff and community to engage in a transparent process that takes place in the open and provides meaningful opportunities for feedback. Last week, we held our first community town hall meeting as part of the phase 2 of this process. 2 additional town halls are scheduled for October and November. In addition, the governing board will hold 2 study sessions this fall to examine closely the data, the metrics, and factors that must guide the decision before December. We encourage our community to stay engaged, bring forward questions, and participate in these opportunities to share their perspectives. We learned valuable lessons in phase 1, and we are committed to ensuring a smoother transition with any future school closures and consolidations. The ultimate goal remains to right-size the district in a way that strengthens student programs, supports our employees, and ensures long-term fiscal stability. Finally, I want to highlight the back-to-school night events I attended this past week. These evenings showcased the strong partnerships between our schools and families. I was able to see firsthand how our administrators and teachers are encouraging attendance, building relationships, and sharing the many supports available for students. Together, as we continue this important work, let's remember our shared commitment to think VCUSD first, because when we do, we ensure that every student receives the very best educational possible. That's my report.
Thank you. Trustee Flores, would you like to start? For board reports.
Did I hit the light? Not much to report so far as district-wide. I did attend my son's back-to-school night. Looking forward to the upcoming year. My little 4th grader doing his thing. So with that, I just kind of want to comment for a few minutes, and I just ask that you all bear with me. I've been feeling a little emotional leading up to today, seeing the resolution for National Hispanic Heritage Month because of everything kind of going on right now. It talks about the profound and positive influence on our country through their strong commitment. And I have to think about, and I need to honor my mom, Ma, si yo estoy en esta silla, es porque usted estuvo en muchas otras sillas aguantando, that if I'm sitting here in this seat right now, it's because she sat in other seats enduring discrimination, enduring wage theft, enduring what millions of immigrants that come to this country endure, and I honor her, I also want to honor a 2nd-generation Vallejo High graduate, which is, my son's mom, Patty. Regardless of where we're at in life, she is always somebody that admire highly. Another strong Latina woman that has influenced my life for the better. And last but not least, a third-generation Vallejo High graduate is who I want to honor, and that is my beautiful daughter, Aliyah Alejandra, AKA Fathead. It's her 22nd birthday today, you know, and I want to honor her with a poem by one of my favorite poets, Langston Hughes. The poem goes, "She, in the dark, found light brighter than many ever see. She, within herself, found loveliness through the soul's own mastery. And now the world receives from her dower the message of the strength of inner power." And as a father, all I want is my daughter that when the inevitable happens and mom and dad are gone, that she understands how beautiful and how powerful she is, you know. So with that, happy birthday, Fathead, and I'll see you in a bit. That's all I have to report. Thank you.
Thank you. Trustee, Dr. Young.
Oh, I had a great experience. CASA, California Afro-American Association for Afro-American Superintendents, had a roundup at the Doubletree on September 6th. We had a wonderful time. Our president, Dr. Adam Clark, opened it up for the 2025 roundup. I thank you for my support that I got from my district. I saw some familiar faces there, and I was happy to see that they wanted to take in all this knowledge that we have about the guidance of Afro-American and minority students. The day was filled with professional development, community building, and powerful conversation for educators and community leaders. We focused mostly on community building and fortifying the Black teacher pipeline. I'm sure Matt went to that one. Seeking strategies, also some of the key things were seeking strategies and solutions for Afro-American learners. What are the attributes of the ideal for pre-KTK teachers? What do we look for in that when we're looking for them? I'm sure you attended that one too, right? Okay. We also had some really great keynote speakers. We had Jackie Wong, Executive Director of First Five, California. We had Dr. Travis Bristow, Center for Research of Expanding Educational Opportunities, UC Berkeley. He was a dynamic speaker. I really enjoyed him. It was a very resourceful evening, spent a little long, but it was resourceful and lots of conversation, a lot of networking was done at this particular time. I also got the opportunity to visit back to school night for Highland Monday and Cooper Monday. It was well attended. Hogan I went to on Tuesday. And all the parents that I spoke with were looking forward to meeting the teachers and seeing what educational journey their kids were going to be traveling on the 24-25 school year. And some of them came out smiling, some of them didn't. But anyway, we keep it moving. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Young. Vice President Amboy.
I always get choked up when I have to speak the last 30 days, but as much as how active I really want to be participating in everything what the district's been doing, it's just I've removed myself a little bit just for my own personal reasons. but sitting in the background, it's really great to see what our district has been doing in moving forward to our, to making the most difficult decision to make in December. I have to thank the executive cabinet, Superintendent Aurelio. Your hard work is seen, it's heard, your leadership, and you just don't hear it from our community itself. You hear it from everywhere along the state, and it's a big buzz. And we know everyone on this board that's sitting, with me tonight knows we don't take that decision lightly. I mean, I wish I can win the lotto and donate, my winnings to the district, but that's not the reality. Reality is we are losing students every day, and we've finally recognized where we are lacking, and we're patching. But not only that, we're patching our flaws. We have plans in place, and we're doing it together. And again, I have to thank you guys for that. And we know all we ask for is all the data we can get, so we can make the hardest decision ever. And we don't take this decision lightly, because it's not easy. And we know it's going to affect a lot of people. It's going to affect our friends, our neighbors, everyone. And there's so much writing on this, and also it's not for the people who are showing up to these town halls. Those are not the people that we need to speak to. We need to speak to the ones who are not showing up. We need to speak to those, say, why not VCUSD? Come back to us. This is what we're doing. This is how we can become greater, how we can improve our attendance. I mean, I'd rather see in 10 years' time, we could open another school. I'd rather have that kind of conversation versus another conversation of we have to consolidate again. That's not what I want. I mean, our population is still the same since I moved here in 2000, but yet, again, we need to reinvest in our kids. And I think that's, and we're on that path. And I know we can all do it together. But sorry I don't have a report, but thank you. Off my soapbox.
Thank you, and that was a report. I appreciate it. First thing for my report is I attended Monday night, the 15th, 2 nights ago, the Solomon County School Board Association. And we are thinking of hopefully a new event. Maybe Heather DePasio has already seen this, but I think this last year we've done the theme of reading and how is reading working or not working through the districts throughout Solano County. And about a year ago, we sponsored to show The Right to Read. I know Dr. Young and I went, and others have seen that documentary, The Right to Read. I think the follow-up is Hopeville, and the board is looking at showing Hopeville, hopefully at Solano County Community College, maybe November 10th, which is a Monday. We're not sure yet. We're trying to get all this together. So if we do, we'll have food and networking and show the movie. But we also want student trustees to hear their voice about their experience with learning to read or struggles with reading. So have a little panel afterwards too. So we're trying to work on getting that venue done to watch the movie Hopeville regarding reading, the follow-up to The Right to Read. More to that to come once I find out. Then I wanted to talk about, this is something that you all always inspire me, and something Trustee Flores said, these days today we're thrown with so many different things at us, and I think what's so important today, at least for myself, is finding ways to find good And talking about honoring people that are role models to us, that have inspired us to become who we are today, like our moms or our people in our family, I think it's so important to keep referring to those role models in our own community, in our own family, so that we can keep having positive dialogue instead of what's being thrown at us. And also just keep remembering kindness, since we're not seeing or hearing kindness, to be role models of kindness. And to uplift each other, to know that we're all going through struggles and through difficult times, not just with financial, but with what's happening around us. So I think that the constant uplifting each other is very important, and being there for each other. I also wanted to remember that on this coming Monday, September 22nd, we're in the last days of summer. On Monday the 22nd, we start autumn or fall, the new season. And then Ruben Aurelio also turns another year old that day. So I just wanted to make sure that we're all aware of that he shares the new season that's coming upon us on Monday. And with that, that's my report. Committee forum, we don't need.
No quorum.
Closed session, we do not need. Announcements of upcoming meetings.
There is a long list here, so I don't know if we want to necessarily read every single one. I'll read the next 3 in September. We're going to be a very busy board for the next few weeks. So we'll be back in this room September 24th for our special governing board meeting and study session that is specifically focused on the equity impact analysis, which we received this evening, and the community engagement information that we received at town hall, and the board will be diving into those reports and really asking, looking, doing all the heavy lift that needs to happen so we can get to a decision in December. That is a public meeting, and people should come out if they want to see us do our work. September 25th, the very next day, is our new, for this sort of school season, our first VCUSD and City of Vallejo 2+2 committee meeting at 4:30. That's at the Vallejo City Council Chambers. Student trustees, you know that you're invited to attend that. We're hoping you're there to be at the dais with us because they do want the student voice in that space. I mentioned earlier, September 29th is the first of this school year Superintendent's Student Advisory Committee. That'll be here in the governing board at 4 p.m. Students, you're also part of that. So this is why you have to be careful not to spread yourselves too thin. And then you can see we have more meetings coming up in October.
The October 8th one's been canceled, so that one needs to be deleted from the list.
Correct. Thank you. That's a good catch. The October 8th is combined now with the 15th. So the 15th, which is a regular scheduled board meeting, will be both that and a special governing board meeting. Thank you for catching that one.
Sure. Future board agenda items. Trustee Vice President Amboy.
If we can revisit the Melrose for Area 3, of what is being spent, or what has been spent, and what plans for that Melrose, and also looking into, are we planning to renew that again so we can have more income as well?
Trustee- Thank you. Trustee Flores?
I want to see if we can get an update on the construction work that was happening at Bethel, specifically in the JROTC room. I want to make sure they have adequate changing areas, because I know that was a big thing that they mentioned, and I want to make sure that that's been addressed. And the other thing is seeing about inviting Solano AIDS Coalition. I believe they are the ones that are putting on the Dia de los Muertos event, and they have asked to partner with the district in having altares at the event from the different schools and having them come down. So I want to make sure that we get that information out. Additionally, I'd like for them to come in to present to, what the event's for, what they want to do with us and partner with us.
Is that with Mario Cecito? Yes. Okay. I've been part of the judging and part of it in the years past. It's a wonderful, wonderful event.
And I know that last year, I believe that, or maybe it was a couple years ago, or the last couple years, I know that within the school sites, they've been doing their own altares as well. And it's just such a real wonderful thing, because when we're honoring our loved ones and our ancestors, it crosses all cultural boundaries, right? It's not a Mexican celebration per se, or, you know, but anyhow, that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you. Dr. Young. Microphone.
Thank you. Thank you. I'd like to see some, a report on, our staffing. What's missing in our staffing at this particular time and how we're gonna address it. I'd also like to see, like to hear, how we are addressing support for these new, recruitees or new teachers that we're having. Because, I've visited a couple of classrooms and some of them are struggling. In the area of, classroom discipline.
Thank you. And then my request is, since we are getting close to, since we've trying to learn from all these processes through school consolidation, I'd like to know how Vallejo Charter School transitioned to here on the island. How is that going? What's the current status? And how did Loma Vista Farm transition well to? I just want to know, how are those kids, how did they, what's going on with them? How is it going? What hiccups were there? What could be done better? How can we learn from the process of those students that left their school, went to a new site? I would like to know as much data or information we can to know how these transitions have gone for them or the families to this point. I know it's only been a few weeks of school, but I think we should have some information regarding, so if we can hear from both of those sites how students are received, the culture, and just whatever is information you can to be awesome. Thank you. I see a light from Dr. Young.
Also like to see, something, that reflects our enrollment, current enrollment, and, the procedures that we're going to go forth with in order to recruit the ones that are missing out there that haven't shown yet to school, but yet they're enrolled.
Bob as well.
Trustee Arbab.
About the finding out how the process is going for Vallejo Charter School to the island. I think the next superintendent's advisory committee is soon. Do you know the day? Because my sister Malala Arbab, she's on there, and I think VCS is going to get one more. So I think it'd be really good to get their insight on how it's going. So if there's any hiccups, we could see how to prevent that in the future school closures.
All right, with that, is there anything else for the good of the order?
One thing I forgot to mention, National Night Out, what's the date of that? That is coming up. Is it October? My calendar, October 7th. And I know last year, I believe, Dr. Young, you were with me at National Night Out.
Wasn't it August?
It was in August last year, but it's been moved to October.
Oh, I didn't know that.
So October 7th is National Night Out. We do work closely with Vallejo Police Department. In the past, we've taken a school bus and visited some of the locations where our National Night Out events. In fact, that's where I remember meeting our current mayor for the first time, was at National Night Out.
Okay.
She was at an event. So just to putting that out there, if any of you want to join the district team, that would be joining the
Tuesday the
National Night.
7th.
Tuesday the 7th.
What time?
6 o'clock? I believe we start from City Hall as a large group, do some pictures, all the good stuff, and then by 4:30, I think we're on the road.
4:30, around 4, okay. Some more to come on that. Thank you. And with that, looks like we are adjourned at 7:44. Good night, everyone. Thank you.